Hi everyone, it's Bill Black, the Exit Coach from the Exit Coach Radio Show. You know, one of the biggest questions I get on the show is what exactly goes into a business exit plan and when should I start creating mine? Well, I always tell people that the best time to start was 5 years ago, but the next best time is now because you never know when you might need it. So we put together a free report that describes what an exit plan is and what you should know. You can get it free by texting exit plan with no spaces to 44222. That's exit plan to 44222. Again, text exit plan to 44222.
Welcome to the Exit Coach Radio Show, the show for baby boomer business owners who are looking for cutting-edge information as they plan their 3 to 10-year business succession and exit. Every week, we interview top professional advisors for their best tips, strategies, and precautions so you can be well planned. And now, here's your host, the Exit Coach, Bill Black.
All right, thanks. Thank you so much for listening today. It's been a real pleasure to have you with me so far, and my next guest is waiting patiently on the line for us. Tony Martignetti is a leadership coach, entrepreneur, idea generator, and people connector, and he brings together practical experience, formal training, and extreme curiosity to elevate leaders and equip them with tools to navigate through change and unlock their true potential. Now, Tony loves guiding people to find clarity in their lives so they're energized, fully present, and unstoppable. And when leaders unlock their potential and lead from a place of inspired purpose, they impact and inspire everyone around them, and he's dedicated himself to live an inspired life. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk a little bit about what he did before he got into coaching. Tony, welcome to the show. Thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much. I'm thrilled to be here.
My pleasure. My pleasure. I think we're going to have an interesting discussion. I hope our listeners have a pen in hand and a large blank piece of paper to take some notes. Tell us a little bit about your background as a finance and strategy professional and how you transitioned into becoming an inspired and starting Inspired Purpose Coaching.
Yeah, no, I'm thrilled. So, yeah, it's been an interesting transition. When people look at that, they say, like, wow, coming from finance, like, what would make you want to work in the place of, like, really shaping people and helping people to create what they're doing right now? And it's been a long journey, but I felt like the square peg in the round hole for most of my life. When I was in the world of finance and strategy, I was working with biotech companies mostly. And people used to always say to me, oh my gosh, you're not the typical finance person. You have this thing about really, seeing people. You really want to know what makes people tick. You want to know how to connect people to their passion, things like that. And I would just do it, like, almost naturally. But when people say, well, you're different, I would say, like, yeah, well, whatever. My job is finance. So this is what I do. Almost like robotically, I would come back to that.
Yeah.
My job is finance. This is what I do. It's something I've come to realize that, a lot of us, by definition of our jobs, we put ourselves in boxes and we start to program ourselves to think, this is how I should be calling myself. This is what I should be doing. This is how I should be. And I started to come to the realization that I was in the wrong place when I started to burn out and get depressed about what I was doing in the world. Although I was making great impact, and on the outside, people would see this like, this person who's, rising up the ranks, getting to the C-level in a space that is like making a huge impact on people's lives. Ultimately, I felt empty inside. So,
Interesting. Yeah, I think I hear that from a lot of people, especially as they get into their later years, and they say, for all these years, I put on a suit, and it was a business suit or whatever it was, but it was also I was putting on my persona for the day,
yes.
and I realized at some point in the suit's not me, the persona's not me. I don't feel fulfilled, but I'm making good money. I'm being successful. I'm doing the things that we're supposed to do to provide for our families. But I just there's something else that needs to come out. Is that kind of where you were?
Yes. Absolutely, and that's part of what my calling is around this, is to get people to see that whatever is dying to come out has to come out, and even if that means it's not about telling everyone, hey, you need to go leave and start your own, company, or you need to go start your own thing, but it's about expressing yourself fully in whatever place that might be. Maybe it means really understanding what you're doing in your work and expressing that fully and not holding back. Embracing, for lack of a better word, embracing your voice. And some people just hold themselves back because they say, hey, I'm doing, I'm making good money. I shouldn't rock the boat, because if I rock the boat, then I might be in a place where things would be unsettled.
Yeah, just another $1 million. Just another $1 million, and I'll be done. You know what's interesting, I think, these days, Tony, is that we've been given a gift of medical technology and science that allows us to live longer, right? So allows people to live longer. So we hear a lot from people, and as a matter of fact, AARP, of course, the largest, age 50 plus organization, paid membership organization in the world, has created a whole section of their website called Life Reimagined, because people are saying, I know what I did, but it wasn't who I am, but I'm not sure I know who I am, and I'm not sure how to best utilize what's available out there with all the technology. And I'll give you an example, and then I'll shut up. But an example is, it used to be, the dream job was being a starter at a golf course, for instance, or something like that. Yeah. Or, a lot of people were greeters at Walmart or whatever. But now you don't have to leave what you loved. Maybe you loved what you were doing, but you just want to do the consulting part of it and turn that into a more of a career, and leave behind all the running of the business, the people problems. And these days with the internet, you can have a worldwide audience and either learn about something like on your podcast that we'll talk about in a second, or actually do something and find a community of people that knit left-handed with blue thread, if that's what you're into.
Exactly. I love that.
So it's interesting.
No, you're absolutely right.
How do you help your clients discover what their suit should look like?
Yeah, well, first of all, it starts with really doing some stepping back of where you are right now and assessing what you have already accumulated in your life. Where are the things that have lit you up? I always say that your life is a research laboratory. It doesn't. It helps that I come with this background of I was a pre-med major. I have this science background too, but I look at the world like a lab, and everything you've done is research, and now everything you do from this point on is also research. So it's best not to jump in and say, okay, now I'm just going to throw everything out and start anew, and just completely jump onto the unknown and make things happen. Now, some people do that. In fact, some of what I did was like that. But the reality is a better way is to test the waters and do experiments. And that starts by just looking at what you currently have in front of you and see what's lighting you up, and do more of that in little experiments. Okay?
Yeah.
And I can delve more into that in a moment if you'd like.
Yeah, I'd love to hear more about that. And I think a lot of people today with virtual work, here's a visual for you. They have their business suit on top and their board shorts on underneath the camera.
Yeah.
Right? So they're kind of and this is a lot of our listeners, is they're baby boomers and saying, I want my real life back. I want more of that. And I think this virtuality helps them in a lot of ways to do that. So they can be on the Zoom call, and then as soon as it's over, they can go out and surf, for example. If that's
I love that. You paint some good visuals, which I really love. I'm actually wanting to be out surfing right now, or actually I like climbing mountains, so I'm really cool with that too.
That's the book you're writing, right? Is Climbing the Right Mountain, Navigating the Journey to an Inspired Life, which is a great title, Climbing the Right Mountain. Yeah. Tell us a little bit more about that. What's behind that? Yeah,
and it comes back to this feeling, and we've touched on this a little bit, that a lot of us, a lot of people who are at the stage where they, get to the top of their field, they've singularly focused on getting to the top of their mountain and said, okay, now I'm here. I've gotten to sea level. I've gotten to this place where I thought I wanted to be, and I've done everything I could to get here. Maybe I've, sacrificed my health, my time with family, my friends, and here I am. I'm looking out at the view, and I don't like it, and I have regret. I'm feeling these feelings that I've not, kind of created the life that I wanted. So what can I do about it? That's what I'm trying to help people see, is that even if you do get to the top and you realize you've climbed the wrong mountain, it's not too late. You can always take your path to another mountain. And if you're still on the path to climbing your theoretical mountain, there's signs to look for, and there's different ways to climb. So that's really what that is about, is taking different ways to approach your path. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
And I wanted to come back to what you said earlier, just for a quick moment, because you mentioned, the people who may be sitting around and thinking like, oh, how can I start my, my side gig and what have you. It's really, what's powerful about it is that because there's this ability to do things on the side, there's this portfolio approach. You don't have to risk your day job to start something that lights you up, that could be something in the future. I've often talked about the person who sits at the coffee shop and, is the coffee shop guitarist or musician who dreams someday of becoming like a, full-time musician. Well, it starts with just testing the waters and going and having that time at the, coffee shop and playing guitar.
Right. And, it seems to me that, a lot of this comes from an outdated notion, perhaps, of what the work life is about, where, you get your day off every once in a while or your week off. And I think now a lot more people with technology on our side have the ability to take half the day off if they want, or compress their work into a part of the day and have more freedom. And I think that's just the song that a lot of people want to hear these days, that they're just like, how do I get some of that life back? I hear it so often. I'm sure you do too. I just want to stay home and walk the dog, or go for a walk, and not just rush out the door first thing and onto the freeway and into the stress of the situation. And I think with this intersection of social distancing and COVID and technology, this intersection that we're at, it's given a lot of people time to do that. And so I think that by reading books like Climbing the Right Mountain and really figuring out, that's where a lot of people are at. How do I find out what mountain I should be climbing, to borrow your title again? What do you talk about on you? Because you host a podcast as well called The Virtual Campfire, which I love that title. Another good image. What do you talk about there? Yeah,
so the podcast has been, to me, I feel like it's been a gift that I've received because I have so many great people on the show who share their stories. It really is a space for people to come on and share, what it was that had brought them to the place they are now. Like, I have these people on who have been through a transformation, and they share what are called flashpoints, points in their story that have ignited their gifts into the world. And we all have stories, and sometimes you have to be given a space to uncover the themes, the things that show up along your path that reveal you. And that's what the campfire is about. And campfire, first of all, there's two things about campfire which I love in terms of imagery. Fire is transformative. You transform through fire. But also, the campfire has been a place for telling stories since the beginning of time. And it's not just a place for everyday stories. It's a place for stories that are, deep and honest and that stand the test of time. So the guests that I have come on are often, they've made it to some place where they're making an impact in the world, but their story tells, their early beginnings, their humble beginnings, the point at which they got ignited into doing what they're doing. It's beautiful.
Very interesting. Very interesting. And I was talking with my prior guest. Actually, we were talking about that the road to success. And I heard a saying I repeat a lot, that the road to success goes directly through Crazy Town. If you can picture that, the roundabout. It's just like, what's going on? And you just can't get off the roundabout for a few turns around, but everybody goes through that in some way, shape, or form. So I would imagine that hearing stories from people who have been through that is very therapeutic for a lot of people who are wondering what this next transition is going to be like in their life. And especially our listeners out there who are saying, I know I don't want to do so much of what I've been doing, and I want to do something else. I just need to find out what that is so I can exit to something, not exit from something. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think it totally does. And I think part of this is also, if I could just add one big part of this that I found out through my journey of helping, to tell these stories, is that everyone seems to have a bit of like, nobody goes it alone. There's always people along your journey who are helping you. Sometimes it's like blatantly direct, and sometimes it's indirect, that they are there to be signposts along your journey. And part of the reason why these people come on is because they don't want people to feel like they're alone. So when you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm the only one dealing with this problem, well, guess what? You're not. You're not alone. So I think that's part of the message that I love to share about the show, is that there's this this connection that people can make through this.
Now, when let's say if a listener wanted to get in touch, we've got a couple ways that they can get to know you better, right? They can go to your website, which is Inspired Purpose Coach. I'm sorry, my my link here cuts off after Inspired Purpose Coach. How does it finish up?
.com.
InspiredPurposeCoach.com. Okay, easy. Okay, there it is. Okay, now I see. So they can go there. You can go there and see some really great information and overview. Do they just to find the podcast? Would they just right there on your website, InspiredPurposeCoach.com? Click on podcast. They can touch with you and talk to you about coaching discussions that they might want to have, right?
Absolutely.
And they can listen to your
conversation with people.
When's your book coming out?
The book is coming out in late spring. Pre-orders are going to be set up very shortly, so I'll be having that all come together. This is the beauty of self-publishing. There's no one there to slap your hand when you're late.
Right. Right. Okay. Great. Right. So there's a lot of ways for people to get in touch with you and learn more about you. Again, it's by InspiredPurposeCoach.com. I really would love to talk to you more in the future after your book comes out, and we can talk about what all's in the book. And in the meanwhile, again, people can listen and get to know you that way, and then pull up a chair around the virtual campfire podcast with Tony Martignetti.
Exactly.
And it's great to talk with you today. Anything else you want to share with our listeners? It's been a great conversation. I've really enjoyed it.
Thank you so much. I mean, honestly, I think the biggest thing for me is just make sure people know that, we're going through some challenging times, but we're all going through it together, and that there's always someone there to have a chat with, so don't go it alone.
Excellent advice for people out there that are, thinking about transformation and change and what mountain to climb. Get in touch with Tony. And Tony, thanks once again for joining me today. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to Exit Coach Radio.